All right, Matt, Gannon, Jers, we are back again, back to our normal stomping grounds. You're back down there in South Florida, which, being boots on the ground, I understand it's South Florida, North Florida, but it's like I'm from the West Coast. Southern California, Northern California is a real thing. Down there, you're back down there. I'm back in New York. Players Championship is in the rear view mirror. We'll be talking a lot of Players Championship, and then we have the Valspar on the horizon. Matt, how are you doing?
Good. Yeah, good to be back. Very long week, but very fun week. Although Scotty Scheffler won the golf tournament, I think we had pretty firm stance on what was going on at TPC Sawgrass, and I think everyone who listened to us was overall happy. So pat ourselves on the back for that. Hopefully, a lot more of that to come in the future. But yeah, great week. Happy to be back. Ready to talk Valspar.
Yeah, we like you said, I think most of the things we commented on were largely true. Not everything is going to be accurate, and there's probably things we were way off on. Rory got off to that fast start in the first round. I thought we were going to be fucked on our Rory takes. We were not. He kind of fell back to what we expected from Rory. But let's just dive in to the Players. Even the Players is such a crucial event, and this was such a scintillating Players Championship. I even went as far as to call this pod both the Valspar preview and the Players recap. We usually don't say that, the recap of the previous event, but this one has to be covered because, Jers, this was a fantastic tournament from start to finish. You had Xander Schauffele, you had a guy in the mix. We'll talk about all of this in a second, but Scotty Scheffler, we saw him out there. We talked about on the pod on Wednesday night that nobody follows Scotty Scheffler in the practice rounds. They're all watching Rory. They're all watching JT. They're all watching Ricky. Scotty just kind of does his own thing. He's hitting the ball down the fairway on every single hole. But then he comes up with a neck injury as the tournament continues, loses pace with the leaders, and then rallies back at the end. Describe from your seat yesterday just the feeling, what you saw from Scotty Scheffler to close out and win the Players' Championship.
Yeah, although pre-tournament we talked about our guys, but we all thought oh yeah, Scotty's gonna win. It's Scotty's course. But Sunday, Saturday, I didn't think Scotty was gonna do it, and I thought he was too far back to really make a charge. And I could be mad at Xander. I could be mad at whoever the leaders for not coming through. But we saw a historic charge from Scotty to come back on Sunday, and it's not like Xander Schauffele laid down. Sure, he missed that putt on 17. He didn't he didn't birdie number 11, but he didn't play bad golf. He hit good shots. He shot under par, playing with a one-shot lead, shot 70. That could have been enough. That was one stroke from being enough. So I'm really not all mad about Xander, but just props to Scotty. He got it done, and that hole out on number 4. He needed a lot of things to go in his favor, but he's the number 1 player in the world for a reason. Course set up perfectly for a reason. Back to back for a reason. It's just Scotty being Scotty.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about Scotty. I mean, just a few weeks ago, we were saying he keeps getting in the mix. Something's going on. He's not finishing these tournaments off. Something's going on. And now, obviously, Bay Hill was an example of a normal Scotty victory, I would say, where he gets out in front. He's cruising on all cylinders. He just keeps doing his thing. He's simply too good at his best over 72 holes, and slowly the guys kind of fall off. This, to me, was the best, I genuinely think this might be the best moment of Scotty's career, that final round yesterday, because to go back-to-back to win the Players' Championship, which no one has ever done by itself, is impressive. Obviously, it's the 5th major. It's one of the biggest tournaments in golf. It's one of the Masters probably feels to him like the best accomplishment of his career, and obviously it is because it's the Masters. But to rally like that, to play that final round, to come from completely off the pace, to chase down the last 2 major champions in Wyndham Clark and Brian Harman, and Xander Schauffele is obviously one of the most consistent, best players in the world. Just to me, as I was watching it and it kept unfolding, I was almost happy I didn't have someone in the mix so that I could just sit back and take in how insane this round was from Scotty. I don't know. We'll see. We talked about the boots on the ground, and nobody follows Scotty in the practice rounds. A moment like this where Scotty comes from behind, plays with guts, chases everybody down. I hope this elevates Scotty in people's mind as the badass player that he is.
I don't know what else he needs to do for that to be the case, because he had to recruit Tristan Hadley to play in a practice round with him. No one wanted to play with him, and like we said, no one's following him at the events. What else does he have to do for him to become that next caliber player? For him to become the darling of the PGA Tour? For the torch to be passed from Rory to him? Not that Scotty's going to become the politician that Rory is, but just to be the face of the tour. Not sure what else he needs to do, especially after this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, if I think too, like I saw more people tweeting stuff who I wouldn't even consider golf people just talking about Scotty. Like Scotty is so good that I think he's elevating himself, not just in the world of golf, but just like outside of the world of golf. That when you think of golf, Scotty Scheffler pops into your head as one of the first few names. And obviously, yeah, he's the number one player in the world. But I just don't think he's been at that level to just the average sports fan because
Right.
he's got the Masters. He had the one players doing shit like this where you just go off the charts and you're hitting every shot so much clearly better than everyone in the field and charging down and making putts. Like that's the type of stuff that I think the average casual fan wants to see. And I think I was thinking about this too before this. It's not long ago that Scotty was that guy who was the young guy who was popping up in the majors. He was up there on the leaderboards. He wasn't winning anything, but he was playing this really consistent golf. It's been a pretty quick ascendancy from that to what Scotty is now. And like it just keeps going up. He just keeps getting better every single year. We talked a little bit after he won Bay Hill about like what does that win mean for Scotty? What do you think this win means for Scotty? Has it changed your thinking about what he's capable of the rest of this season?
I think it really doesn't give us a chance to even think about single bulleting him in in any of the majors because his odds are going to be too short. I just think he's going to be 5-1 or 6-1 at max in all four of the majors. I think he's going to get one. It's just going to propel him to maybe a 4 or 5 win season because literally, truthfully, I mean, on Sunday he looked amazing, but I honestly, it's hard to say he hasn't, but it doesn't look like he's doing anything special or playing his most elite golf that we've ever seen. Like he still missed another 3-footer on Sunday and still won the damn golf tournament. So I think they're going to come in bunches like we always say, and we got 2 in a row. He plays Houston next, I believe, which is a course that he's played very well in the past and in the majors. So we could very well get 2 to 3 more in the near future.
Yeah, Houston was where he almost got his first PGA win. He should probably got it over Matt Wolff. Matt Wolff,
Yeah,
Matt Wolff hole in one. Well, Wolff was in there because he had a hole in one on what was that? On the final round because I had Wolff.
Finau won that. I think.
No, it was the one that Kokrak won. I think.
Oh, right.
Like right. Kokrak came from like out of nowhere, and there's all those guys down the mix. But I think Scotty like going to the back nine was winning that. This ain't insane to me. Insane thing to me. We talked about this last week in the final round because his final round last week was also unbelievable. Like he brought his best last week in the final round, clearly brought his best in the final round here. He led the field in driving accuracy. He hit 81% of the fairways. His driving is a joke. Like he stood on every tee yesterday and had to hit a good drive. And that was the craziest thing about that round yesterday. Like you see guys who get off to hot starts. You see guys who come back in the final round. You've seen Scotty do this himself. But every single hole, when it was like Scotty has to birdie this, or Scotty has to execute this shot, or Scotty has to do this, he did it every single time. It was flawless. He missed a couple, like he had a couple putts that could have gone in. He maybe had a few loose iron shots, but it was the driving for me that was just like, it's a joke. He hits it dead center every time, and he's bombing it out there 300.
And that was my thing with Xander. I was like, all right, let Xander stick to that 3-wood strategy off the tee, hit fairways. And yeah, he missed a few shots, but he hit a lot of fairways. Whereas Scotty hit driver, like you said, nearly every driving hole and hit the fairway dead center nearly every time. Like, truthfully, no one else could do that, or no one else is even trying to do that. And it's just so damn impressive under pressure, just free balling it with the driver and just hitting it dead center every time. Because not even Wyndham, who's one of the better drivers on tour, was even attempting to hit drivers because he knows that if you're in the rough, you're screwed. So, and Scotty was just confidently drilling the middle of the fairways. Truly, truly unreal.
Yeah, I mean, like on 14, I think he was like upset with his drive. He made contact. He like one-handed the finish. He was like upset. He missed the middle of the fairway by like 2 yards. And then the leaders, you see Wyndham and Xander come through that hole. They both missed the fairway way off to the right. Both make bogey. Like his misses, they're not even misses. Like he doesn't miss the ball. And we said this last week. I've said every time I see Scotty in person, like if you get the chance to go watch Scotty play a practice round, just do it, because no one else is watching him. Watch this guy play, because you can see the numbers. You can watch it on TV. You can know that this guy's the number one player in the world. But until you go and watch all the other top players in the world and then see Scotty hitting the fairway every hole, hitting the green it's like the man doesn't miss, and he has the wildest looking swing you've ever seen. It's mind-blowing stuff. It's really crazy stuff.
Yeah, mind-blowing. And yeah, he got it done again. So props to Scotty.
So props to Scotty. He's going to be tough to beat in Houston. He's going to be tough to beat at the Masters. We'll obviously keep tabs on those events soon enough. But let's get down the leaderboard. We'll start with the guy we have to start with, Xander Schauffele. We were there. We talked through all the players. The main guy at the top of the board that we both were like, this is the only guy we could possibly consider betting was Xander. I was like, I'm not doing the Xander experience. I retired from the Xander experience after the last time I bet him. You said you're going to hop on. He plays well right out of the gates in the first round. We were there. You got off to the quick start. We saw him get off to a quick start there on Thursday. Has the lead going into the final round. Doesn't play bad. Doesn't play terrible. Doesn't choke. Doesn't have any of those shots that he hit Jenny that snapped into the trees. But just too many loose swings. Those bogeys on 14 and 15, ultimately the things that cost him. You said it was one of the more painful losses you ever had. We had some beef in the group chat last night. Me and BK, that's hand up. My bad. But I asked because to me, it wasn't one of those heartbreaking, he chokes, he did something terrible. And then it's Xander at the same time where you kind of maybe have in the back of your head that Xander, but you experienced it. You said it was one of the most painful ever. Give me your Xander experience yesterday and why it was so painful.
Yeah, it was just so painful because it came down to like the last hole. I mean, I would have much rather him gagged it on the first 5 holes, truthfully, because it wouldn't have hurt as bad. I'm like, all right, just Xander. But like he played pretty solid for having the 54-hole lead and being in it, having a chance to tie or win on 17 and 18. Yeah, those bogeys on 14 and 15 were tough. Made a tap and birdie on 16. I mean, I did not think he was going to make that putt in 17, truthfully. Hit a absolute nuts shot. Like, that was the shot he had to take, and he executed it. Gave himself 7.5 feet on one of the harder holes of the day on 17 and one of the most pressure-filled shots of the day. Did what he had to do. I wasn't even mad that obviously he missed the putt. Then I wasn't mad that he put it in the pine straw on 18. That's one of the tougher drives. Like, he hit a fine drive. And then, like, he was screwed once he couldn't get it within 20 feet. But yeah, it hurt just because it came down to the last few holes, and it was not that I'm like a Xander Schauffele truther, but it would have been really nice to hit on Xander when everyone else like just doesn't really like Xander. So he played great. I don't know what my thought on him in the future is going to be. Like, definitely not going to bet him this week, but like, how many more chances are we going to give the guy? I think this was probably his best effort in a long time, besides like the Travelers, which he won. But he looked all right. It just hurts. Like, I don't have all the words right now. It just hurts.
Yeah, and any time you almost have an outright winner, especially in a big event like the Players, you want to hit it. But even having somebody in the mix down to the stretch, always exciting as well. I didn't have that, so you get a plus on me from that. And my thing with Xander, because like it was a hair smoke and mirrors, in my opinion, for some of the first few rounds. He was scrambling. He was getting up and down every single time. Like, the announcers were, John Wood was like, I don't know how he will get this ball up and down. And then he'd have a tap in every single time. Like, he was so sick around the greens. He just, and we saw this, we just talked about it with Scotty.
He was lucky. I agree.
Not necessarily, but like what he doesn't have that I don't trust him to have down the stretch is hitting the fairway. And that's what cost him yesterday. Like, when he has a clean look with his irons, even under pressure, he's hitting good shots. Like, if you can walk up there in 17 and stuff one, I'm not going to talk shit about your iron play like under pressure. That's a big time shot. Scotty didn't hit a great shot on 17, but he just fanned too many drives to the right. And that ultimately is what cost 100%. Him. Like, missed fairway on 14, hit it in the bunker down the right side on 15. On the front nine, almost hit it in the water on the 4th hole with like a hybrid club. It's like, and we saw that at Genesis, obviously, with the driver in his hands, he was snapping it left. So, like, if you can't even club down, and then 18, like, it was a good drive, but Wendy and Scotty put it in the fairway and gave themselves the best opportunities. If you're going to be one of the best players in the world, you're going to win these tournaments, I need you to be able to put the ball in the fairway down the stretch.
And number five on Thursday, he hit it way right, and it was about that far, or was it Thursday or Friday? Hit it way right and was that far from the I think it was Thursday, that far from the water, ended up making a tap and birdie. I'm not sure if you saw that.
Oh yeah,
it was like on like same exact stance he had on
number 5. Like, it was like,
it was on 5
down the right side. Yeah.
So like, and he had a great round going, and he almost gagged it on Thursday. Not that would have made a big difference down the rest of the tournament, but I'm agreeing with what you're saying. Under pressure, he didn't have that quality to put it in the fairway when he really needed to do it. So sucks to suck, Xander.
It does. And also Xander's outfit yesterday, I didn't like the outfit.
What are you doing?
If you're going to win the Players, I need, like, Scotty, it looked crispy. Wendy looked
Wyndham.
crispy. Wendy looked extraordinarily crispy. And even Brian Harman looked like Brian Harman. Like
Yeah.
Brian Harman's not going to look crispy, but Brian Harman looked like I'm showing up to battle because this is what Brian Harman looks like when he shows up to battle. Xander needs to define what his like final round attire is going to be because he's such a good player. He's going to be up in these big tournaments again. Like he's going to have to win one.
So bad, like a zip up. Like
yeah,
I've never seen anything like that. That was
brown
disgusting.
shirt, black pants. Yeah, that was brutal. But let's talk Wyndham because Wyndham came out guns blazing. He got off to he like almost because of everything that happened yesterday, and obviously Xander was kind of the one who had the best position for most of the final round. Wyndham had a huge lead going into the third round, and the lead was gone relatively quickly for him. I'm looking at the stats here for Wendy. In the third round, he lost over a stroke off the tee. The ball striking in the third round wasn't good. He scrambled really well. So gets behind the 8-ball a little bit with that poor third round, but comes out and hit the ball great in the final round. Tee to green, excellent, one of the best in the field. The putter gets cold for Wyndham until he gets to the 18th hole there. And again, the putter lets him down ever so slightly. But what was your assessment of Wendy's performance? It looked like he was dead in the water when he got to, I think he got to minus 17. And then here he comes on the par fives, takes dead aim on 16, 17, and then gets absolutely unlucky on that putt on 18. He showed the club twirling moxie of Wendy on those last 3 holes, but he had an opportunity here with a big lead at the players, and he kind of let it slip through his fingers. I assume that's what his takeaway is going to be with how he played there in the third and the beginning of the fourth rounds. Overall assessment of Wendy and how you're thinking about him going forward.
Yeah, I'm not sure I really gave too much of a take on the podcast with you before we started, but I know I talked to you about Wyndham Clark, and I was like, no, I don't see it this week. I don't like the course for him. And yeah, obviously I was wrong. And I think we kind of reached that point where we're no longer getting these 50 plus, 60 pluses on Wyndham Clark because the last 2 courses he's performed on, Bay Hill and TPC Sawgrass, are fairly different style of golf courses. The players is a lot tighter than Bay Hill, and same thing with Pebble Beach. You wouldn't really think those are Wyndham Clark golf courses, and he's doing it. So I don't think we're going to have those numbers anymore on Wyndham. But overall, I think it was very impressive from Wyndham because going into the week, I didn't think it was a great fit, and he did it yet again. So him blowing a 4-shot lead, 5-shot lead, that's whatever. Like, that's not bad. He had chasers behind him. It's not like he was playing behind with a bunch of dweebs behind him, and he didn't play horrendous golf. He had a chance to win on the 72nd hole, unlike guys like Patrick Cantlay, who had no chance to win after having a 5-shot lead in the middle of the day on Sunday. So Wyndham Clark, impressive. Yet again, you proved me wrong, and hopefully we have another chance to get him 60 plus, but I think those numbers are all but gone.
Yeah, I totally agree with that summary. And he gained almost 8 putting in the first 2 rounds. Like,
you knew it was going to regress. Yeah,
that was going to be tough to maintain. Obviously, that's the type of thing he can do. That's how he won 54-hole Pebble. But he just has the ability to spike with every single category in the bag. And his putter is one of the biggest weapons right now of any of the top players. Like, he's the best putter of the elite players right now, without question, in his ability to just put up huge putting numbers. So yeah, impressive performance by Wendy. And you brought up Cantlay. Wyndham Clark is infinity times a better golfer than Patrick Cantlay. That's not even a fucking conversation for me to be having. Give me Wyndham over Cantlay. And if those, there's a reason we're not going to be getting 50s and 60s anymore on Wendy. It's because he should be around 30 to 1, 25 to 1. All of the other guys, the Collins, the Maxes, none of them are more likely to win a big tournament than Wyndham. It's not even a conversation. No. It's not even a question. I think that's genuinely a fact. So yeah, if Wyndham's in the 40s or 50s for any of these tournaments, besides maybe Augusta, just because I find history of Augusta being so crucial there and he doesn't have it, but for the rest of the big tournaments of the year, shout out Wendy C. And then Brian Harman. We talked Brian Harman on the live show. We talked to him a lot, boots on the ground. I saw him in the practice rounds. He looked really good. And he was very popular. And we both decided too popular. We're not going to chase the price on Brian Harman. Almost paid the price on that because Brian Harman fit the course. Brian Harman had great course history here. Brian Harman made sense. And it's always nice to see a guy who steps up and delivers when all those things happen, because usually they don't.
He's got guts. He truthfully has guts, because he definitely looked at the chart and knew he was most tipped. And then he did it. And yeah, very impressive. Brian Harman was in it till the very end, even though he had a poor start to Sunday. I think he missed like 2 or 3 putts inside 8 feet to start Sunday, and he was there down the stretch. So very impressive from Brian Harman. Hopefully he's back because he started 2024 off pretty slow, and he's showed a little bit the last few weeks. So there's definitely going to be some spots to deploy Brian Harman in the near future.
Yeah, and watch out for Harman at Augusta. I don't think he's going to win the Masters, but why can't Brian Harman play good at Augusta? The Georgia boy, I like him there. Matt Fitzpatrick was up there for a little bit, completely out of nowhere. He's been playing absolutely terrible. It was the most classic Fitz thing to do. To me, Fitz is one of the most unpredictable players of you just don't know what's going to happen from him. And that's why before I've said when he gets like a huge number in a marquee event, you just bet Fitzpatrick because he can just show up and play great golf. For being one of the most detailed players on the PGA Tour, went a whole year not knowing that he had an extra weight in his grip. I don't even know if I can believe that because it's so outside the realm of what we know Matt Fitzpatrick is as a golfer. But I was shocked to see how well he played this week.
Yeah, he looks really fucking solid. He said he figured out he had his weight in his grip, took it out, and now he's back. So, yeah, I bet Fitz I think 2 or 3 times to start 2024, and he played horrendous, and he performed on a course that I didn't even think was very Fitz-esque. But like we said, you could do it at Harbortown, you could do it at Sawgrass, and Fitz fits that bill. So, yeah, but when Fitz spikes quick, look for him to pop up again quickly. So keep an eye on him for the near future.
Siwoo lived up to the hype. Hideki continues to play well. What's good? Is Decky legitimate? I saw people. To me, this would be a horrific number, but maybe I'm the wrong one here. They were excited about 30s on Hideki at the Masters. What's a fair price for Hideki at the Masters?
I mean, I would say that's
the 60s or 70s, not very long ago.
Not very long ago, and then one win and then a few good results. I mean, I would say with all the live guys there, that's not a good number. But if it was just the PGA Tour, that'd be a fine number. So, yeah, I would probably say if it was 40, 45 plus, then maybe. Obviously, he's a winner at Augusta and can heat up and do it again. But I don't know if I'd want to be not 30 because we just both said don't chase that number on Hideki. It's kind of a low-risk strategy or high-risk strategy that's not going to pay off.
Ludwig did a classic Ludwig. Just doing what Ludwig does, hitting good shots when I don't bet him and playing well. So I didn't bet him this week. A top 10 is almost a guarantee for Ludwig under that. So not surprising at all from him. Teagues, exactly what we would expect from Teagues.
Exactly
what we would expect from Teagues. He played the course exactly like he played the practice rounds, where he was doing some unbelievable shit, and then he was hitting the ball off the planet. His drive on 9 was apparently one of the worst drives anyone's ever hit. Almost over to the 5th green, so far left, had to take an unplayable. But Teagues at this point, for me, he's one of the best players on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, dude.
I really think he is. He has gained strokes in pretty much every event this year. He spiked multiple times. He almost won Century. He was right there at Phoenix. He played good last week. He played good 2 weeks ago. He played good this week. He's not far removed from that win at the Fortinet. He played good at the Masters last year as well as at RBC. I hope he plays Houston. I think he lives in the Houston or greater area there. Good course for Teagues. I just love what Teagues is doing. I think he's an exciting player. I think people like Teagues. I think he's good for the PGA Tour. So shout out Teagues, and also hilarious that he did exactly what we said he would.
Yeah, you're gonna get those eagles, you're gonna get those doubles, but when the driver is accurate, he spikes, and it was just accurate for, I would say, 10% to less 2 holes. So he had to dial it in a little bit longer, and he couldn't do that. But overall, great week for Theegala.
I think my Mav call was my best boots on the ground call last week. The Mav playing looking good, and then he comes out and was legit mixing. Did not. If I didn't see Mav on site looking really good, I would have had 0 lean.
What was he doing that was looking good? Just hitting the ball well? Because I wasn't there that day.
Yeah, he was just flushing. The weird thing is his stats for the week aren't
flushing. I looked,
but he was just moving around with confidence and flushing it, and he just looked really good, and he clearly was feeling good. And a solid performance from Teagues. Your boy Sammy Rides, what a call on Sammy Rides. That's the birdie record, I think, right?
Yeah, I think he set the birdie record at Sawgrass. If only he just made no bogeys, would have been the most sweat-free win in my career at 400 to 1. Yeah, that was I didn't I lost money on him, didn't do anywhere else but outright, which is probably a dumb idea, but it is what it is. Nice little sweat on Sammy Rides. I saw like Sunday afternoon, he was like 12, 13 under. I was like, oh, Sammy Rides, post 16 and see what happens, but that did not happen.
Rory, completely unserious golfer, in my opinion. We talked about it, how his swing with his driver's messing up his swings with his irons. He then, I think in the final round, said that he switched to focus on his irons, which then messed up his swing with his driver. Like, that's unserious golf. Do you think Scotty is thinking about how his driver swing is affecting his iron swing? No, he's hitting every fucking club perfectly every single time. Scotty is so far ahead of Rory right now in like just confidence in their game going into the Masters that divine intervention is the only way that Rory wins the Masters, in my opinion.
That Rory, like those Rory quotes sound like something like a 9 handicap would say. Like,
Yeah.
you're Rory McIlroy. How could you even say that with a serious face? Truthfully, yeah, my irons feel good, but I don't know how to transition that to my driver game. Like, what? It's fucking Rory McIlroy. Figure it out. Figure it the fuck out.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like he loses strokes off the tee this week. Now part of that's because he's hitting the ball in the water, but like he's going to keep finishing. And he even said this himself. He's like, I'm going to keep finishing T20 until I can solve this, and that is what he's going to keep doing. So Rory's number is going to continue to drift, and I'm sure we're going to get people screaming from the rooftops that it's time to bet Rory. I'm going to need to see it to believe it from him.
It might be me. It might be me.
You will. Most of these things we say about what people are going to do are things that I think you end up doing anyway. So I'm sure you'll be on. If Rory's like 16-1 at Augusta, you'll probably be absolutely hammering him. Harris English, I thought Harris played well. Course history, he overcame it with a solid performance. So shout out to Harris. What else do we got here? Oh, Matty Schmidt completely silenced the haters. Great performance from Matty Schmidt.
Wow. One of the
two guys we said had no chance to make the cut. I think they both made the cut. And Matty Schmidt in the mix. Nick Taylor. We said he was a great long shot bet. He's all the way to 40-1 this week. We've gone too far, right? In the Nick Taylor, we're now in overreaction territory as we think about Valspar.
Yeah, 250-1 going into the week, and now he's 40-1. I know it's a lesser field, lesser course, but come on, guys. I don't think we should do that. 40-1. That's a bit crazy.
Sungjae, kind of back. Adam Schenk playing just good in the nick of time right before Valspar to screw us all when we bet him. We'll talk about that in a second. There's a few of the big names I wanted to talk about. First of all, Tony Finau deciding he's not going to use the left-hand low putting after his working in the practice round. Like, I don't know why you would do that, but whatever. He actually gained putting, so it wasn't the putting that cost Finau this week. Colin looked like a man who we saw on the course. Both Hovland and Colin, they both made the cut, so good for them, but they also both did what you would expect from guys who had zero idea what they were doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
I think those are the two most important calls we made during the week because a lot of people were going to bet them, or a lot of people did bet them. And not that because those are like 30 to 25 to 30-1 golfers. Like, that's a popular betting range. And we had great info on how they looked in the practice round. So, yeah, they basically played exactly how we were to expect. I wouldn't surprised that they made the cut, but they both didn't look great at all. Not up to the 25-1 standard at all.
I would hope that both of those guys play an event or two before the Masters. Like,
they got to, yeah.
They can't carry this form into Augusta. And I think I've said this since the beginning of the season, that I think we're going to get a good field in Houston because Houston is a good course to prep for the Masters. I mean, if Scotty Scheffler is playing the tournament and you're any of these other guys, you need to think to yourself, if Scotty's playing this tournament and I'm not, what am I even doing? Because like, you've got to figure out a way to beat Scotty. And if he's out there grinding, playing events, then you should probably be there as well. Minwoo flow chart, never even close. Oh, this is what I want to talk about. Max legitimately almost killed somebody on the course. Like, not his fault, obviously, but that shit was scary. like, I know it's a joke, but like, it was actually horrifying.
I showed my girlfriend that, and our jaws dropped. Like, she was like, "There's no way." Like, did you see the back angle of the guy filming?
I watched all of the videos like 1,000 times because every time I was like, I can't believe this.
That like, if that was 3 inches, 4 inches lower, dead on the course, dead.
Yeah,
dead. That was insane.
And I know, right? I think that was right of 14 because like that's where we saw EVR hit that insane punch shot through the trees. But like, Sawgrass is a safety hazard in the sense that like these guys can get out of position pretty quickly, and the marshals like there was a couple times when we were there on Thursday watching like the live action where if I didn't myself choose to move out of the line that I was in, I would have legit been in danger. Like, and people at
Truthfully,
golf
yeah.
tournaments are stupid. Very like they're not paying attention. They're not there for the golf tournament. They're there to drink and party or do whatever. Like, and that's totally fine. I'm saying in this, they're stupid in the sense of they're hitting golf balls hundreds of miles an hour at the course. Like, pay attention. And that was just scary. And I hope it's genuinely like this has nothing to do with our pod, like a wake up call. Because if something like that happened on the course at the Players Championship, I can't even imagine like how bad it would be.
Like the same thing that happened in baseball a few years ago when they put up the foul ball nets. Like, not that needs to happen, but something had like just back the fuck up. And Max said in his pressure, I think Chris Powers asked him the question.
Yeah, he did. Shout out Powers.
Like move back. And he said Max said he asked the guys to move back, but he should have asked them to move back further. He said Max said he knifed it. Obviously, like that means he hit it off the hosel and wasn't planning on hitting the tree, obviously. But still, that it goes back to our original take. Max is broken. Max is completely broken.
Yeah.
So
if it all like with all seriousness aside, if a player is almost killing people on the course, broken as a flip, not like somebody you can be supporting in the betting markets. Again, I didn't see Scotty Scheffler almost hitting any fans with low line traps to the face. So yeah, great way to tie that back to the point of the podcast. Max is broken. Also safety first. We do have to talk about a couple of guys that I bet because they were fucking terrible bets. Actually thought they were good bets. If I thought they were a bad bet, I wouldn't have bet them. They turned out to be horrible bets. Zal was horrible. What happened to Zal?
Yeah, I was definitely out on Zal, but I thought it was like I didn't expect him to do this. I thought he was going to make the cut. I thought he was going to contend for a top 20 finish at the minimum. And yeah, he just looked super off. I didn't see too much of him when I was out there on Thursday. I'm not sure if you got to watch any Zal on Thursday, but yeah, just off. I mean, I don't love Sawgrass as a course fit for him, but truthfully, like over the last 2 weeks, I didn't see this coming. Like I said to you, I like Zal, but I don't see him going 2-3 win, which is that didn't mean I think he was going to miss the cut. Like that was very, very off from Zal. Gotta gear it back up because he's supposed to be winning his next start.
But yeah, that's the positive is that we may get a discount on Zal at a tournament that we have declared him the winner of since the beginning of the year. So excited about that. Also, apparently, I forgot I said this, but Scotty Scheffler Players preseason one and done preview. Scotty at the Players. Also looking forward to updating the standings in our contest because I believe I will have slingshotted myself to the lead after BK had declared that we should already be sending him the money. So I'm pretty excited about that. And the game in general, we're going to be deploying this, I think, next year. We got to build an app. We got to do something to get our one and done league out there for more people because it's fun. Awesome way to do it. We pick guys to both succeed on the week and who you think is going to miss the cut or play terribly, and it is way more volatile than normal one and done. It's pretty fun, so we will I think we're going to do something with that next year. But let's get into it. The Valspar, we've got a reasonable amount of players that played in the Players coming on over to the Valspar. We've also got some guys who weren't in the field. We've got some of the Euros back in play here. Valspar, always an event that kind of it's a hangover event, obviously. It's one of those events where we just had a big event last week. It's not like RBC where it's then a signature like they've kind of been doing on the PGA Tour. We just get a normal event here, but always a fun one. A good course. A course that'll test you. What's your Valspar profile like when you're looking for golfers this week? Who are you looking for here in Tampa, Innisbrook?
Yeah, it's the perfect end to the Florida swing. And I love the Florida swing because it's like difficult golf no matter what. It's one of the true courses where like tee to green prowess is really rewarded, in my opinion. And you just got to be solid across the board. You got to be named Sam Burns, obviously, or Paul Casey. So pick one of the two. And yeah, I just think the best complete ball striker, similar to what we're seeing at so what we saw at Players type of player, can contend at Innisbrook. You don't have to be gig along off the tee. You can be a shorter hitter. There's definitely multiple avenues to success, but keep your ball in the fairway, hit greens, and if you're out of position, you will be going backwards in a hurry.
Yeah, I completely forgot too that last year they kind of redid the course. They grew the rough up last year. They shrunk down. The fringes used to be really big, so you could miss the greens, but the greens actually became bigger because the fringes were so big. They shrunk those down, brought the rough in, and we saw that in the scoring last year. The conditions were much more difficult last year. And I was reading, again, the PGA Tour always puts out the field notes before the tournament on like notes about the groundskeepers. I'll also say they always put some random shit in there about the groundskeepers. Like this guy plays soccer recreationally. So if you need any information on the superintendent, like you can look that up in there as well. But the useful information from that was that this is some of the thickest rough that Innisbrook has ever had because of the wet winter down there in Florida. And we saw deeper rough last year. It just increased the ball striking needs even higher. Like there was a way at Valspar to just get hot with the putter and contend that way. I think we're talking about a course now that is extremely balanced. You got to do pretty much everything across the board. We've said that a reasonable amount about these Florida courses, but I think it's true. It's kind of the no duh, be a good golfer example. Yeah. And I think that's a reason like we've seen medium long shots win here in like the 50 range, but it tends to be the better players. I guess like before we talk through the board, we have gone long shots. We have gone now Scotty, and now Scotty's not in the tournament. Are we going back to long shots, or are we falling into the Valspar normal range, which is kind of like the 20 to 60 range? How are you thinking about that?
Yeah, I remember I said this weeks ago. I said Valspar card, JT Jordan card done. And I could fit that. I could literally do that. There's a chance I do that. It's still early on Monday. I haven't gotten there for multiple reasons, but I just think they're some of the most complete golfers in here. And I love the way Jordan is so volatile and he's just down last week. No, I would not be surprised if he played well in Tampa because he's got great course history here. He's played well here. And even when he was younger as a golfer, he played well here. So I don't know. I like Jordan, but I will have Boots also, side nugget. I will have Boots Tuesday and Wednesday to get to hopefully confirm our thoughts from the pod, because this course is definitely going to be playing hopefully tougher than we saw last year, or as tough. So I will have Boots on Wednesday to get a overall grasp on it. But yeah, my head's not really anywhere crazy right now looking at the top, but could definitely get work my way down.
Mr. Florida finishing off the Florida swing. Is that Boots at every Florida event?
That will be confirmed Boots at every Florida event.
Officially the Florida man. I don't even know if I can call you Jersey anymore since you've gone to every Florida event. So Matt Gannon now, he's the Florida man, finishing it off. So I assume you'll be up in the Discord with some thoughts on the people know sure. What you're seeing Boots on the ground. We look forward to seeing that. And then obviously that's going to educate your bets. And you've been hot. I mean, to be fair, Scotty, single bullet or double bullet, you'll take that. Xander right up there. So you're hot. You're getting Boots. We'll expect some good picks for the people this week. No pressure, obviously. Okay. But as we work down this board, the man who's at the top of the board is a man you were on last week. You already said you're not betting him. I'll legitimately promise you I'm not betting him. Xander Schauffele, he's the favorite here. Obviously, he should play good, but fresh off a second at the Players, heartbreaking. Is there any world where Xander comes and then wins Valspar?
Also, it's weird because it's not like Xander popped up out of nowhere. Like this man was under stressful in the mixed conditions Thursday through Sunday. Like he was in the top 3 of the golf tournament the entire time. I'm not really sure how he bounces back from it. And knowing Xander, he's not the most strongly mental guy from watching him over the last few years. So yeah, I'm really wondering to see. Like I would not be surprised if he withdrew, but like I feel like if I'm him, like I'm so angry and I want to bounce back in a strong way, but what is his numbers? 8-1, 9-1? Like, how could you back that?
Yeah.
How could you back
and I mean also like I'd be surprised if he, or I wouldn't be surprised if he WD. So far he hasn't. So I guess I assume that he's going to play, but it's almost like a question of, does winning the Valspar really matter to Xander? Like I know he's probably upset. Right. He wants to get back out there. He wants to do something, special maybe, but like he also might just be like, fuck this. I want to focus on the Masters. Like winning Valspar doesn't matter that much to him. Now he hasn't won anything in a while. So, and now we're going to do a game of like guessing what a golfer cares about and how would we ever know? But I'm good for sure on 100%. Xander this week.
That takes got to be out of your mind to bet an 8-1 Xander. Truthfully.
Yeah, but there's really nothing that can be said here. If there's somebody listening who's going to bet Xander, then more power to you. But yeah, that's simply something that I cannot do. The next guy that we have to talk about individually. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to start talk about Burns by himself, and then we're going to do Jordy versus Spieth, because I feel like they're kind of the same player this week. We have to talk about Burns by himself because of his course history here. Obviously, a 2-time champion. I have been saying for weeks now that he is not going to win any event until we get to Valspar. He's going to be 12-1 at Valspar, and then he's going to fuck us and win at Valspar. When I opened up the odds this morning and saw that he was 12-1, it really concerned me because that was the exact odds that I've had in my head that is going to lead to him winning this event. He's been playing great. Everybody's been betting him at like 20, 30-1 in these bigger events. He hasn't won any of them. He almost won the Amex. He played okay last week. He played kind of exactly how we would expect him to play, but I wouldn't expect Players or Bay Hill to be places that he's going to like over excel. The conditions are a little bit more difficult now in the setup. Like, do you think he's a gigantic threat to win, or are you not that worried about Sammy B, or are you consider betting Sammy B?
I mean, course horses are real, and Sam B has already proved to be a course horse in his young career at Innisbrook, and he gained strokes off the tee and an approach. It was very minimally, but for Sam Burns, it's pretty solid to be doing it consistently. You can't say he's not a threat at Innisbrook because he's done it so often. Now, I will say this is the strongest field he's ever contended with at Innisbrook by a little bit, but it still is probably the strongest field. So I'm not really a big Sam Burns better. I'll bet him like twice a year, maybe. I did it at the Amex. I'm not really sure I want to run it back, truthfully, but because I don't know, I see more parity this year than I do in years past.
Yeah, I mean, he loves these greens. A lot of the work that he's done here has been on the greens. I think his iron play is okay right now. It's definitely not the best level of his career. Like, I don't love him as much with the Sam Burns proof conditions that they put into play last year. After he won twice in a row, they were like, we got to Sam Burns proof this place. And he finished sixth last year, so it's not like he can't play well. Obviously, should be in the mix here. But as the Sam Burns whisperer, I am afraid, as I have been for weeks. But I don't think it's going to be afraid enough where I'm going to jump on board at 12-1 on him. And then the next guys, JT versus Spieth. They're kind of the same price this week. I guess JT, the lowest you can get is a 14. You can get 18 on Spieth in certain places. I wrote up that I also lean Spieth out of the gates in this because I think I trust him more with the putter. And I think tee to green, he, like you said, is volatile and he didn't play well last week, but nothing really to be that worried about because a couple off days for Spieth could honestly be a positive for him. We've seen guys miss cuts. We've seen Jordan miss cut and win the very next tournament. I think he did that when he missed the cut at the Masters. Everybody was like, holy shit, he missed the cut at the Masters, went on and won the very next week. Where do you lean or in the JT versus Spieth this week? I know you're considering both, but if you had to go one way, which one do you have higher?
I don't know. It's hard. I mean, JT off back-to-back, like really poor weeks, or I guess, back-to-back really poor weeks. But he gained 4 strokes on approach in 2 rounds at the Players, which is fairly impressive. That's what JT does well. And it's hard to think, like, what's the winning score going to be this week? What do you think?
Well,
14?
I'm sure you'll give us some boots to help us educate this, but yeah,
I would
I
say 12 to 14.
I would, I think I'd lean on the higher end, so I'd probably say 14 instead of 12, but I'd set my over under at 13.5, I think.
Like, I trust Justin Thomas getting to 12 under. I just really do. Like, during this weekend, like, I will take that. Or like right now, you're telling me Justin Thomas is going to have a chance to be at 12 under. Like, I might take that in this field. Whereas Spieth, captain volatile, like, I'm so okay with him missing the cut. I did say earlier, like, when he got to Florida, because he was trending at Waste, trending and in Hawaii, I was like, Jordan's going to win in Florida, but he hasn't really looked great. And I might kind of rescind that take because he's lost his ball striking in back-to-back starts. I'm not really sure the data, but I'm not sure if he's ever won losing ball striking in back-to-back starts. I'll probably have to go back and look at that. But I could definitely see Jordan Spieth getting out to a first-round lead, just making a trillion putts and just be like, damn, should have been on him. So we'll see. I probably lean right now JT, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close. I'm gonna go JT though.
My biggest concern with JT is actually a concern that you highlighted to me last week is the putter. I can't not trust the putter. And every winner over the last 11, 12 years here, within their last 5 starts before the Valspar, so leading into Valspar, they all had a +4 or better putting effort. They had all spiked with the putter somewhat recently. You got to putt well here. He feels like a top 10 lock in the mix lock, but doesn't make enough putts to win lock to me. So that's the only concern I have with him. But if he plays back to the tee to green play that he was putting up 3 weeks ago, he's not going to need to do a ton with the flat stick. So you're saying I guess last week you didn't trust the putter. Do you trust it more here, or like what's your thinking there?
I do trust it more here because I don't think you're going to have to go as low. It's as simply as that.
All right. Fair enough.
And the tee to green conditions are a little bit easier out here. I'd say.
Yeah, I
trust JT to give himself a ton of 20-foot putts. Is basically what I'm saying. Not making all of them. So
yeah, and I'm penciling him in, and I think that's what he's done the last few times here. Like he's in the mix, and he comes up. He's knocking on the door. That's my JT prediction for the week. We'll see what happens there. But I think the price is fair, like you're saying. If you want to bet a guy at the top of the board, 14 when Xander is 8. I don't see any reason why Xander is more likely to win than any of these guys. And I guess Sam, you could say, because he has the history here. But then we get some guys who come off differing levels of performance at the Players, and we see their odds adjust accordingly. Brian Harman, Sungjae Im, Tony Finau, Cam Young is kind of the next tier of players.
Fucking Young, dude.
In the 20s. All of them make the cut at the Players. Harman, obviously the only one in the mix. Cam Young played exactly how you'd expect him to. Some amazing things and some truly awful things. Of these four, who is the best value in your opinion?
So it was Harman, Young, Im, and who was the other one?
Big Tone.
Big Tone.
All in the kind of 22 to 25 range.
If we liked Tone last week, why won't we like him this week? But the odds are like 4 times what we bet. I mean, Cam Young had a great iron week. If I lose to a Brian Harman that goes 2-1, fine. And then Sungjae, he just continues to show good signs. Sheesh, that's a good one. I'm going to go with Sungjae. I'm going to ride the horse, Sungjae.
I agree that like all of these prices are brutal when we think about just how we were betting these guys last week, and for that reason it's probably a good pass. Like I think to me, I don't know if I'll bet any of these guys just because it's going to be tough to do so, but maybe I'm becoming a Cam Young guy. I don't know. I've been a hardcore not Cam Young guy, but like when I just think of what is asked of this course, I trust Cam Young to get the ball striking and slinging it around. I guess you could say the same with Tone. I think those would be the two that would be like just purely on ball striking. But I trust Cam more with the putter right now.
Has been so good.
He flushed it with the irons
in Florida. It's been so good.
He just didn't drive it straight last week. I guess, was uncomfortable with the tee shots. But it's crazy It's crazy to say that I trust Cam with the putter because he putted horrible the last 2 weeks. He can lose a ton, but at least he can gain sometimes. Like it exists within him to have a +4 putting effort, which again is something that like players have needed to have here. Tone right now, I cannot trust him at all with the putter. Sungjae, I don't trust with the ball striking, and then Harman, I think is purely vibes that like would have me out on Harman.
I just think after we just had that few minute bit, like I'm gonna bet Cam Young. I got so mad at Cam Young the last week is like just so unserious. He played all right.
Did you bet him? I can't remember.
We both did, yeah.
Yeah, I bet him. I forgot that you were on him too.
And it was just like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? He just makes so many dumb mistakes. But like looking at the stat profile, like he's gained 4+ on ball striking in 5 straight weeks, or Cognizant was 3.7. But like some of the best ball striking consistency of his career is going on right now. The putter has shown like he had that +4 spike putting at the Cognizant, fit that trend. And if I bet this guy 2 out of the last 3 weeks, we're in Florida again, and he's been played well. Why would I get off now? I know the number's horrible, but I bet him at 22-1 at Cognizant, and he gave me a little sweat. Like I might do it again.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Actually, the number is normal for Cam Young. Yeah. Like this isn't horrible for him. Like this is actually on the higher end of this type of field when he's like clicking. It's still a terrible price on a guy who I don't believe can win. But for all the reasons we just listed off, of these 4, he's probably the one I would agree that I'm looking at the closest of this kind of like next tiered group. Doug Gim. We need to give a shout out to Doug. Forgot to talk about him in the Players review. He's high in the model again this week. The model always loves Doug, but I don't know how the model could not like Doug, because Doug is fucking. across the board, like everything that you would want a golfer to be doing, hitting off the tee, approach around the green, and putting well. Doug is doing all of those things, but for some reason, Doug can never finish higher than like T12, T16. He falls in this range all of the time.
He's fucking hard.
He's a cool guy. I love watching him walk around the course. His vibe is immaculate, like top 5 vibes on the course in the practice rounds by far. Any interest in Doug this week? Do you believe Doug can win on the PGA Tour?
Like, it's hard to not like the stat profile. What is his number again?
It's not great. It's really bad actually. It's like 50 to 60 to 1.
It opened at 85, and I think it got hammered. So he's probably going to be super popular this week. Like, the ball striking is a bit absurd. That's what you need here. I think just based on number alone, I got to be out. Because even like Taylor Moore, when he won, I guess it was kind of out of nowhere. He was like 80 plus. He's got hit, right?
Yeah, I think he opened there and like closed in the 60s.
Similar vibe, but I don't know. I'm not really a Doug Gim guy. I'll bet him at like JDC every single year, and that's it. But yeah, I think I'm out.
Yeah, it's a tough price on Doug, but he's just playing unbelievable golf. He is going to be mega popular. I definitely, in like DFS or something like that, where like ownership matters, I'd probably have to be out on Doug, just because he's not like, he can miss a cut out of nowhere at any point, but
right,
dude is flashing. Shout out Doug, one to watch this week for sure. Like you said, probably gonna be most tipped. If I just sort the golftopandserex.com by biggest movers that opened under 100 to 1, Doug Gim in a landslide as the biggest mover. Wow. Followed by Adam Schenk and Lucas Glover. That kind of sounds about right.
Glover, man, what a ugly performance last week.
He got off to a great start. I was following him. I had boots on his front 9, and he looked good. Yeah, but even after you left is when he
bucked up.
He like started to really like flash there after you walked away. And actually, we need to go back really quick. This actually has to do with it. This is a perfect time. There was one hole in one this week at TBC Sawgrass. There was one ace this week on the 17th, and I saw it with my own eyes mere seconds after you and I were together on the 17th hole. We had walked to the front 9. You left to go watch Rio, who got off to a great start and then fell off. And I'm standing there because I can't remember who I watched. Like, they came through. I was watching like EVR or something like that. I see Fox is on the tee on 17. And I'm like, you know what, Fox, like my boy, let me watch him. Let me see him tee up on 17. I'm going to go watch like the other holes. I maybe watched 10 shots the whole day on 17. I'm standing there pin high. Like, I'm dead on with the pin. The ball lands and I'm like, that's going to go into the hole. And it was so surreal to be like witnessing in real time that when the ball went in, I thought I was dreaming. I was like, what is going on here? This is insane. And for it to be Ryan Fox, unbelievable moment.
You can't write that. Truly, you cannot write that. I'm so happy you saw that. I just had walked away too. Unreal.
Yeah, like it's a truly, if somebody told you that was going to happen, you'd be like, no, that's so far-fetched. No. My guy, Ryan, nobody loves Ryan Fox more than me. And for him to hit a hole in one on 17 and me to see it, unbelievable. But let's talk about Ryan Fox, because we have been on Fox as the winner of this tournament forever. We invented Fox here. We've said he's going to win. I have to say, I don't think he's going to win anymore. If I don't bet Fox, am I going to feel the greatest regret of my life? Like, do I need to just do it, or am I good passing on him?
If he's 3 under through 8, you're going to be so pissed. Like, even if he gets off to a fine start, you're going to be pissed. I also don't think he's going to win. He hasn't been playing his best golf, but he has the build of golfer to contend on a golf course like this. Like, he's good at everything. He's not amazing at one thing. Can he flash to get that top 5 upside on the PGA Tour? I mean, we haven't seen it yet, but I mean, the dude can win. Like, we know he can win. He's won in some all right fields on the DP World Tour. Can he be the next Euro to really flash? No one would be surprised if that's Ryan Fox, because we've seen Pavone, Vic Perez do it, Thomas Dietrich do it.
Like, I mean, Fox is the best player of the players that have came over from the DP World Tour this year. Fox is far and away the most accomplished and talented like player over the last couple of years on the DP. So it's a tough one for me because like
parameter 70 to 1. If he's above, do it.
He's 80. But it's Bet Rivers, and you know how I feel about that. So I'll be honest with you. Bet Rivers fading a guy outweighs any other opinion that I have about a golfer. I use it as it is gospel to me. Like I could have said
No,
it.
you're
It could be
true.
my favorite player. I could have declared them guaranteed winner. Bet Rivers gives them the highest price. I'm out. So we're gonna monitor the situation there.
It's never been wrong yet.
No,
I don't think. No.
It literally is never wrong. They know somehow. Let's do the which Euro is your favorite Euro of the week, because as we get to these mid-level events, we have had a random Euro in almost every single one of them. The random Euro of the week is a real thing, and I want to start off with a guy who's already been random Euro of the week, a guy called Sami Välimäki, because I bring him up for a reason, and that reason is when he flashed at the Mexico Open, I believe that was that Cuddy Masters week, or was it within the realm of when the Cuddy Masters was?
Same week. I think it was.
Yes, it was. This week is Singapore on the DP World Tour. That was the other place last year that Sami Välimäki popped. So if Sami Välimäki had vibes on certain weeks of the year, I need to just talk about him before I forget.
No, yeah, that was the only reason I bet him at the Mexico. Everyone knows that. But yeah, you got a dirty Euro of the week is definitely a bit that we have to come through with. I think it's going to be the most popular one. It's going to be for sure Vic Perez, because he's sneakily playing really good golfing.
100%.
T16, T3s last few starts on him at the Cognizant, no big deal. But yeah, now he's back. Ball striking is awesome. He's a winner, and I do think he's going to be popular, truthfully, early in the week. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not doing a popular random Euro of the week, because
hell no.
That is not going to work. The random Euro of the week is the random Euro of the week for a reason. Even David Skins at Honda, a week where we didn't have a DP random, we had some random guy from the UK. So I think, right now we need to dig on this a little bit.
Bob Mack, dude.
Yes, I like it.
There's no better course fit than Bob Mack than we've seen so far.
Diffie C's. My mid -14 winning score, Bobby Mack season. Let me just list off the random Euros, and you give me the quick, you like him, you don't like him. Bjork.
He will drive the ball 210.
He really does. Campillo, that's a no for me on Jorge Camps. We need Camps. We need a week. Camps would be one of a true random Euro. Like, he has done nothing since he's come over, but Camps can fuck from time to time. Like, he was pretty good on the DP. He hasn't done anything yet.
We need him. The next like wedge fest we get. Yeah, the next wedge fest we get at Camps.
Tommy Dietz, TBD if he's playing Sudal. Do you like Dietz? I didn't read your write up on Dietz, but like
he's literally like me with irons. He cannot hit an iron.
Yeah, he sucks. Damn.
He's driver putter, dude. Like
Luke Donald's in the field. Your boy ADDC. This is not a random Euro. This is random South American. Nicholas Echevarria. I watched him play 9 holes with Harry Ings and Posty on Thursday, which was a vibey trio. And also shout out Posty, my new boy, almost winning the Players. Like, some could argue he won the Players with how well he played this week. Echevarria flushes it. He's good. Dude, he's really good. He's really, really good.
Dude, and he had a sneaky good start to 2024. Like, popped up 2 weeks in a row in Hawaii. Not like anything crazy, but like top 20, top 30s in Hawaii. And he's won before. I don't know if this is the course for Nico, but like, keep an eye on him.
The dude can play. Can play. He hits all of his clubs nice. Good around the greens, good putter. And tons of support for him out there as well. Like, there was Nico was the most supported of the Posty Harris trio. So the vibes were good for Nico. We talked about Fox. Harry Hall. If you can play good at Colonial, you can play good here.
That is true. No, that is very true. I did not think about that.
Hago's back. He's still technically random Euro because he won on the DP World Tour. I guess he's won on the PGA Tour now, so we can't capture him in random. And he's obviously not European.
What are his odds?
Hago, 150.
Okay, I wrote up early for you. If he's like 200, 250 plus, eyes for sure. But he's not.
Here is there's good options for random. Like, I like Thor this week. Thor Olesen. He the odds. Why are the odds on Thor so
what are
bad?
they?
Every week they suck. The best on him is like 70-1. In most places he's 60. Why does that keep happening?
Dumb. Makes no sense. Like, why is he? What's Bob Mack?
Bob Mack is 150. Bob Mack.
That makes no sense.
None. 0 cents. Negative.
That makes no sense.
Like, you cannot bet Thor Olsen at 70-1 when the rest of the random Euros are 150. You
It's
just
because he
cannot do
won on the DP World Tour like in 2024. That's the only reason I think.
it.
Which is
It's
not a good
just
reason.
crazy. But yeah, so it might be Sammy Valley for me after. Let me see here
His
because.
iron play is really bad. That's what worries me.
But it's only been a couple starts, and we're not far removed from when his iron play was really good. And it's Sammy
You're
Valley.
right.
Like we're not going to get consistency from
No,
Sammy
you're so right.
Valley. And if there's power in the week because of how he played in Singapore, that might be all he needs to get the irons redoubt.
No, yeah, I agree.
So that's random Euro of the week. You got to have one on your card. You've got to be giving them a close look every week because I'd be stunned if we don't have a random Euro in the mix this week. Who are some names that you have in the early leans outside of JT and Spieth? Because we haven't talked a lot of the middle of this board.
Yeah.
But I
like
think we
Keegan.
haven't. Okay. What are his odds?
I like Keegan. I put 35, I think, which is a number
Wow.
that he wins
No,
at. Like
there's 40s on Keegan.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do Keegan. Like if I don't go double top of the board, he lost like 7 strokes putting last week. It was about average ball striking, which is fine. And the last time he won was off of a miscut. He missed a cut at a big event, the U.S. Open. Came back, won the Travelers, and I think he was my pick for the one and done early season
Yeah, I
with
gotta
you.
write it. Can't
Just
forget
like he has a T2 here in his career, like a while back. Nothing else overwhelmingly good, but tee to green course, Keegan. Like yeah, I'm down.
He's also gone every other start gaining and losing strokes putting. He went losing, gaining, losing, gaining, losing, gaining, losing last week. So he'll be gaining on the greens this week. And the tee to green's been really good. It's not been popping per se, but it's been solid. Obviously, it was second here to Sam back in 2021. We know he can win. Price seems fair. Bez, I know you're,
Bez.
BK is a Bez fan now. You've been a Bez truther for some time. He's 55-1. I'll be the first to say in honor of Debo that he has absolutely 0% chance of winning this event. But what is your take on Bez?
Dude, he was ripping his irons at the players. Like his stroke gain approach is definitely really good.
Always.
And like the course fit makes a ton of sense. Like tee to green, Bermuda, difficult conditions, fairway green, 2-putt. Like I'm definitely down for Bez. Great DFS play. Can he win the golf tournament? Only if like Nick Dunlap wins and he just wins by default. I think that might be the only reason, only way he wins. But we have 2 Nick Dunlaps in this field, by the way, which we'll get to. But yeah, I don't, great defense play on Bez.
That I don't like. He's too bad off the tee for me, but I agree that with amateurs in the field, you've got to give Bez a look because that is his best chance of playing well. He sees an amateur up there and he's like, oh, I can get second place and fake win. So maybe bet him with the each way if you're looking at Bez. You mentioned the 2 amateurs. Let's just get to him right now. Only the one, though, because you went out of your way to write him up for Vince Sarix. And when you do that, we need to talk about it. He's 500-1. Nick, how do you even say his name?
Nick Gavrilic, I think.
All right, I don't know if you nailed that, but let's outside of his name, what can you tell us about this golfer and why are you excited about him this week?
Well, he's been in the PGA Tour U top 5 for like a year and a half now. He's a North Florida Osprey. He's a Florida golfer. He played this event last year actually and made the cut. Didn't have a great weekend, but it was a Thursday or Friday. He had one of the better rounds of the entire tournament, and he's still, I think he's number 2 or 3 in the PGA Tour U rankings now. So he's at one of those names that we're going to see transition from the college golf to the PGA Tour rankings, like Ludwig. So he's a bomber off the tee. I'm not really sure how hot his irons can get, but I know he's really long off the tee and should have that great driving prowess, which is always priority for me. So got to keep an eye on 500-1, like Nick Dunlap one. Sure, I'm down.
Sometimes it's that simple. Quickly, which of these is the worst bet? And are any of them some of the worst bets that you've ever heard? Hadwin, 60-1. Aaron Rye, 60-1. Shank, 75-1. Monty, 80-1. Do you hate it? Like, do you have opinions on any of those?
Shank is the worst bet, in my opinion.
You don't think we get Shank back-to-back performance here?
No, like we've seen once in the last 3 years, a guy go T2 win. That's not an elite. And it was Nick Taylor at Waste back-to-back years. And Adam Shank has had one good week in the last few months, and it was, I guess, last week. No, I'm a horrible bet. Adam check. I honestly like those first two bets. I don't mind at all. Like Adam Hadwin fucks here off a bad week, okay, and Aaron Rye, difficult conditions, played okay at the Players after the slow start. I don't hate those.
And tangentially, a random Euro at Aaron Rye. So we know him now, but he's still DP World Tour. We saw him hanging out with the DP World Tour guys. They couldn't decide if they wanted to be friends with Rye or not. Nico and Lowry were like, no, you're kind of a step below us in the Euro game. They didn't really want to talk to him. But Carl Yuan wanted to be friends with him, so that's all good for him. Billy Ho, you were high on Billy Ho last week.
Bad call. Hand up. Bad call.
Taps the chest. I see. He almost killed me on the course, if you remember. But are you going back to him? They were still in Florida.
Yeah, I mean, how did he hit the ball last week? Over in 2 rounds. Do you have
Drove it? Great approach. Terrible. Basically a normal week for Billy.
Yeah, he's on the card. What are his odds?
His course history here is terrible, Jers. I need to warn you. I'm going to go out and tell you right now that this would be a bad bet.
What are his odds? If they're 200, I'm doing.
No. They're like 80 at best.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Yeah. No, you can't bet Billy. Billy's we're out on Billy. That's a bad bet. I did want he good golfer or bad golfer? Taylor Montgomery.
Good putter. Mini golf. He won like a mini golf league, so that's it. That's all I'll say.
Any chance to win this event?
No, but he gained. I think he gained strokes across the board for like the third time in his career.
That's good. Berger, 80-1 now on Daniel Berger. Flusher's Paradise. He's played.
Dude,
he's got 2 cuts and a T11 here.
Like, I'm not buying hit the hang for 72 holes, but like T10, like yeah. That's all. But he missed the cut in Puerto Rico, which is meaningless to me though.
Yeah. I will not be using Puerto Rico in any assessment here, except on Jimmy Stanger. Fucking disaster performance from him. So I hate him now. Our boy BSB Novak is still 125-1. Why are Novak's odds not in? He played bad last week, but like
that. Like, why are Novak's odds that and Thorbjorn Olsen's are that?
Do we think BSB Novak could win on the DP?
Yes, dude. He's an absolute dude's dude. He can win the DP.
I would love to see BSB on the DP for a little.
I'm gonna ask him
with his just vibe. He would be vibing over there on the DP. Yeah, that would be a special thing to see.
Imagine BSB Novak at the Cuddy Masters. That's a sight to see.
Oh, it would be the name just popped into my head that we got to talk about. Akshay. You're kind of an Akshay. I trust you on Akshay. I don't trust myself. I get Akshay wrong every single time. He continues to flush the irons. The model really likes him, but I get him wrong every time he's played bad here. But one of those starts, he was 12 years old, so I don't think we can count that.
What are his odds?
High, 100.
Dude, Clearwater Beach is a mile away. What else?
Is that where he's from?
No, it's water.
Can you see? I don't think can you. Boots on Ground Report. Can you see? You're gonna need if there's any spot on the course where there's a visual of the Atlantic Ocean or the Gulf of Mexico, please tell me. I have nothing else. Like, you could see that like Spieth's arms are broken and like he can't swing at all, and that would be less interesting to me as boots on the ground information than if there's a view of the water for Akshay at the tournament. All right. To finish off, long shot of the week. You got any long shots of the week? We're talking big time.
Fred Biondi.
He's boys with Jimmy Stanger. Fred Biondi. Yeah. He was at Players looking for him. Here, let me give you some names to choose from. You tell me who's the best candidate for long shot of the week.
Chris Goddard.
Give me the Goddard case. He's your boy,
dude. He had the best iron week of his career at the Cognizant. And the last time an Oklahoma guy had the best iron week of their career, Austin Eckroat did the week before Cognizant, and he won. Chris Goddard told me he likes -14 to -16 conditions.
That's a pretty like. I didn't know what you were going to say, but I am now kind of interested in. I mean,
iron week of his career.
When a guy tells you that, you have to believe him. The other guy who told us his scoring conditions is Max Homa, and that's only when Max wins. So that's something to consider. He's not my long shot of the week, but I just want people to start remembering his name because he used to be a guy who mixed and then he fell off the face of the earth. Seamus Power. I saw Shamey P boots this week. He's got a bad limp going on. Like it's sad to see. Like something is wrong with Shamey, but he's starting to play a lot better. I think that like the injury is behind him. It's still obviously impacting him a little bit, but Shamey P at these long prices in these weak fields, I've got my eyes on him for sure. And then one other guy that you posted about, and I think it was a fair question, Father Time versus course history Cooch. I go course history Cooch over Father Time every time. But what's your opinion on that one?
I think I agree with you because like he knows his way around here, but he has been playing pretty damn bad. I'm not gonna have any like bet or a liability on that take, but definitely something to keep an eye on. Like if this dude has, I think it was like 11 of 12 made cuts here, and he's missed his last a ton of cuts, and he's looked horrible. So which comes through, Father Time or Cooch?
Sammy Valimaki is 200 to 1, so
that's a good bet. That's it.
Aaron Wise, after being like favorite in Puerto Rico, is 250 to 1 this week. He's fallen back into the range that he should be. But there's a lot of interesting names down the board in the Corn Ferry ranges. Like there's going to be some dudes 400 to 1 this week who mix. Like 300, 400 to 1. We're getting guys mixing from this range. Now figuring out which one it's going to be. Good luck with that. But there's some
ball striker.
Yeah, like
what's
there's
his odds? What's his odds?
Hoey, 400 to 1.
Dude, go look at his fucking ball striking.
Yeah, no, it's off the charts. He's sick. Hayden Buck, 500 to 1. We saw Hayden Buck in the flesh. He looks good. He did not play well last week, but he struck it well. It's the around the greens that's fucking up Buck, but he can play. But yeah, so one of those weeks. But once you get past Xander, Sam, JT, Jordy, and then the range of despair with Harman, Cam, Sungjae, and Finau. The guys in the 40s and 50s to me, not that much more exciting than the guys 100, 120. Like I hate betting under 20 to 1, but it feels like a kind of week where you bet one guy under 20 to 1 and then you sling some long shots with him.
Might be JT, dude. Might have to squad ride that.
I'm not squad riding JT. But I like, and we never hit squad ride, so honestly, it's probably better for both of us. So
yeah.
We have to accept that. All right. Good stuff. We'll be back soon enough talking more golf. Might be back talking some basketball. March Madness on the horizon. Matt, Jers, appreciate it. We'll be on the lookout in the Discord for thoughts, boots on the ground. Get over to Vincerix.com. Get over to golf.vincerix.com for the odds and the stats. Like and subscribe. It really helps us out. Thanks so much for everybody listening. Cheers.
Peace.